Hello everybody, in today's video I'm going to show you how you can vertex paint different textures and blend them together perfectly. You can add a lot of textures and you can blend your textures based on a height map. And in this video I'm going to show you how you can add this extra realism by applying the displacement map onto your vertex painting, and this will give you this extra realism that you're working when you start vertex paint your mesh. So let's get started and show you how the vertex painting can work with the displacement map. If you watch my previous video, you already know that my channel is demonetized, so I've decided to switch to Patreon. Becoming a Patreon member, you'll support me and this channel to keep evolving, to keep creating more and more interesting videos. Besides that, you have access to all the files that I've created from the start of my YouTube channel. So right now you can download the water shader, you can download the auto material from my previous video. If you didn't watch it, go and watch it. And you can have access to more in-depth videos about how the things work, like the auto material, the water shader, and a few more videos. And also you will have access to a VIP Discord server only dedicated to my Patreon members, where I am active most of the time. So if you want to support the growth of this channel and if you want to see more and more videos like this, go to my Patreon page, enroll now, and also you will have access to everything that I'm creating. Thanks everyone. So let's start creating this vertex paint shader. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, go to the materials and click on the material. This one I'm going to call vertex paint material. Paint material. I already created it, as you can see over here, but we are going to create it from scratch. I'm going to open it and I'm going to start by creating my texture coordinates in order for us that we can tile the UVs of the textures that we are creating. So I'm going to hold 1 on my keyboard to create a constant. I'm going to right click, convert it to parameter, and I'm going to name it UvScaleSize, right? By default, I'm going to put 10 for my value. And after that, I'm going to multiply. And I'm going to multiply by texture coordinate. So I'm going to right click, texture coordinate, and this will help us scale and tile our textures. And after I did this, I'm going to drag and drop over here, and I'm going to find a name reroute. And for the name reroute, I'm going to name it texture coordinate, texture coordinate. All right. So I'm going to comment this, and this block will UV tile our textures. All right, I'm going to show the bubble. So this is the first block that we're going to need to tile our UVs of the textures that we are going to import. The next step is to use some textures. I already downloaded few from Quixel Megascans, and I'm going to use this cobblestone over here. So I'm going to drag and drop the cobblestone over here. And if you're searching for the exact textures, I'm going to list the code in the description of this video. The second thing that I want to add is a fresh snow. So I'm going to drag and drop my fresh snow over here. Okay, so we've added 2 textures that we are going to blend between. So right now I've arranged my textures. The first one is the cobblestone. The second one is my fresh snow. Again, for the normal map, cobblestone, fresh snow. And for the ORD texture is the cobblestone first, and the second is my fresh snow. So this is the initial setup. Right now we've created this texture coordinate, and I want to hook it up everywhere in the UV section. So I'm going to right click, texture coordinate. Keep in mind that this will control the tiling of our textures. So connecting over here, Control C, Control V, connecting over there, and connecting it over here. The next step is to create the vertex color block. So I'm going to right click, search for vertex color, and this vertex color block will tell us where we're going to paint. Right now what we have is we can input all the data from RGB and alpha channel, or we can separate. So at the moment you can blend in the red channel, in the green channel, in the blue channel, and in the alpha channel. So those are the things that you can blend between. And I'm going to show you how you can blend between the red channel, then add the green channel, and from now on you can add the blue and the alpha channel if you want more complex shader. So the first thing is to reroute the red channel. So I'm going to reroute, and I'm going to name this air vertex color. So this is my reroute for the vertex color red, and I'm going to do the same for the green reroute, and I'm going to name this G for green vertex color. Okay, And I'm gonna put on a comment on this block. So I'm gonna name it vertex color node. Okay, show the bubble, and let me move it over here. We're just using the reroute, so I'm just separating everything over here. Okay, so now how we can start blending between those. There is a node which is called height Learp. You can blend by using the normal Learp, which is the linear interpolation. So what you can do by lerping normal is you can connect this one, and the alpha channel will be using this channel. For example, if you want those two textures to lerp on the green channel, I'm just gonna connect the green channel over here. All right. If you want to lerp on the red channel, you're gonna connect the R channel. So right now we have a simple blend between those two. If we start painting the red channel from 0 to 1 in alpha, which means from black to white, we're going to see this a little bit later, we're going to start blend between this texture and this texture. But this is the simple method. I'm going to show you how you can use also height to blend it, so you can have this extra realism. For the height blending, we have a height Learp. So I'm going to right click, height Learp. This one. It's a little bit more complex, but the result will be much more good. All right. So for the A, we're going to input this one. And for the B, we're going to put this one. The transition phase is the channel that we want to paint on. And in this one, for these textures, I'm going to paint on the red channel. And the height map is pretty important. So how you can find the height map? Right now, if I go back to my cobblestone, and if I double click on my ROD texture, let me just drag and drop it, I'm going to search which channel includes height information. So the green channel doesn't include a height information. The blue channel, it's not good enough. And here in the red channel, which is our ambient occlusion, we have good height information. So we have dark spots over here, and we have pretty good white spots over here, and very good definition of the cobblestones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the red channel and feed my height information. So in order to do that, I'm just going to go here, and this is our cobblestone road. Remember, red channel is our height information. And what I want to do is I want to inverse it, because right now we're going to use the white and we're going to paint on the white, and I want to create a vice versa of it and start painting the snow below the cobblestones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 1 minus. This is a node that inverts the channel, and we are inversing the white and the black. And I'm going to reroute this, reroute, and name it road height map. Okay. So this is what we are going to use for the height map. And I'm going to feed it over here in the height texture. Okay. And one more thing that we need to do is we need a contrast. So I'm going to create a parameter, which is a constant parameter, convert it, and so I'm going to name it contrast, textures contrast. The contrast itself will tell us how soft and how hard the textures will blend. Later on, you're going to see this in action. And I'm going to reroute this, reroute. I'm rerouting just for the sake of clean graph in our material. And this will have the name of contrast, and I'm going to name it textures contrast. Okay. And now I'm going to connect my contrast over here to the contrast in this height Learp. So right now we have all the height Learp for the diffuse color, for the albedo. We need to do the same for the normal and for the roughness, occlusion, and displacement. Okay. So I'm going to select this one, copy and paste it. And I'm going to connect the normal map over here and the normal map over here. So our normal map is ready. Pretty easy. See, when we've prepared everything to be rerouting, how our lines are not crossing and we have this clean, readable graph over here. Pretty nice. And for the rest, again, I'm going to copy and paste this one. And here it will be a little bit more tricky, because the first thing that we need is, if I drag over here, we have occlusion, roughness, and displacement. So the red channel is our occlusion, but I want my red channel without the reverse. So I'm going to connect my red channel over here and clean everything. to look good. And I want my red channel over here. This is our occlusion data, the first one, the red channel. So I'm going to connect it to the ambient occlusion. And the normal map will go to my normal map. And the diffuse albedo will go to my base color. Okay. But we need two more height lerps, which will be for the roughness and the displacement. So I'm just going to duplicate this one. I'm going to connect from here, and here. And I'm going to connect the green channel over here, the green channel over here. And this is our roughness. Let's connect to the roughness. Move this base node a little bit over here. And I'm going to clean the connections so we can trace them. And I'm going to have one more height lerp. Again, connect everything over here. And connect the blue channel, which is our displacement. We start to get a little bit crossing over here, but it's okay because we can track them pretty easily. And this will go into our displacement, here in our displacement. So right now we have the setup to blend those two materials based on the red channel. Let me save this and show you how this works. So if I select my floor, and this floor is a mesh, it is not a landscape. We are painting on a mesh, not on landscape. The vertex paint is working on mesh painting and not on landscape. This mesh is created in Maya, and I've intentionally smoothed it up a lot so we can have a lot of vertices to paint, so I can show you this smooth painting effect. And let's apply the material onto our floor. Drag and drop our vertex paint material. And right now if I play, we have the snow over here covering our mesh. Now, in order to paint, go to the selection mode and change it to mesh paint. Go to the paint section. I'm going to scale this a little bit. And here you have the channels to paint on. You have the size of the brush. You can make the brush a little bit bigger. You can have the strength, how hard the brush is. You can have also a fall off of the brush. The most important thing is the paint color. From the black to white, it will say which texture we start painting onto our mesh. And here, the channel, we've set up the shader to be readable in the red channel. So I'm gonna choose the red channel. And let's start painting a little bit to show you how it works. On the black, we have the cobblestones. Let me just put my speed camera to a little bit less. And you see that we can paint a little road over here. Let's say like that. And let me show you, if I tune down the brush and make the strength a little bit like that, and I switch, you can see that when we paint, we are painting beneath the stones over here, how the height map is working. So right now we can have this amazing effect, and we can fill up a little snow here and there to have great blending. And of course, this is controlled by strength over here, how you want to paint it. Let me just create a little bit more space here. Let me show you the contrast parameter, how it's working. If I go here in the contrast and change it to 4, you can see that we start to have sharp edges. If we go all the way up to 10, you can see this hard. If I go all the way to 0.5, you can see that we have a little shallow, like fade out effect, like transparency. So from the contrast, you can choose how hard it is blending. If you want this hardness, or if you want to make it a little bit softer, put 0.2. And this is how you can vertex paint two colors. Right now we're going to add one more, so I can show you how you can add more to this. So let's add one more layer. I'm going to go to selection, save this. So to add one more layer, we already set up the green channel for it, and it's pretty easy. What you need to do is you need to copy the height lerp over here, connect this one to A, connect the result to the base color, and right now I'm going to use my mossy rock, and I'm going to drag and drop my moss over here because I want to paint a little moss. Okay. And what I want to do is I'm going to connect the moss over here. So this moss will start blending with those two textures. and it will start popping out from the green channel. So I'm going to right click, connect the green channel to the transitional phase, and you can set up different height textures here if you want, but I want my rod also to be dominant over here. So I'm going to connect my rod to the height texture, connect your contrast over here too. Okay. And what we left is we need the texture coordinate to work also on this texture sampler. So I'm going to connect it over here. And see, with all this rerouting that we've done, everything looks so clean, so readable, pretty easy to work with. Okay, so we set up the new texture over here, the moss. And now for the normal map, we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did over here. Texture coordinate, connect it over here to the UVs, copy those, paste those, connect my result over here to A, connect this to B, move this a little bit up, and place this a little bit down so it's clean, and connect this to my normal map. And right now here I have a little bit trouble tracking those, so I'm going to reroute those, and I'm going to disconnect everything, and I'm going to reroute later. And now here we have to do the same triple normal lerping for this one. So the first thing is we need a texture coordinate, connect it over here, and I'm going to move it like that. And I'm going to start duplicating each one of those. So I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm going to duplicate those three, and I'm going to connect them over here, rod height map and the contrast. And remember, we are painting in the green channel, so I'm going to delete this one and add the green vertex channel over here. Okay. And right now the result will go here. This is for our occlusion, and our occlusion is red. So I'm going to connect the red over here. And right now, in order for us not to make a big mess, I'm going to reroute this, and I'm going to name it from the result reroute AO final. So this is our ambient occlusion final, and I'm going to connect it over here to our ambient occlusion. We're going to do the same for the roughness and the displacement. So I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm going to use the connections from here. Connect this one to this, to A, and connect my green channel over here. This is our roughness. Reroute roughness final. Go and connect your roughness final over here. Roughness final, roughness final. I'm going to give a default value for the specular and metallic of 0 because I don't want this to interfere with my roughness. And the final thing is I want to create the displacement. So this will go into my B channel. This will go into A. This is my blue channel, sorry. And I'm going to connect again the contrast, the rod height, and the vertex color. Keep in mind that here in the height map, you can control it by another different height method that you want to blend. Maybe you're using this moss as a height. And I'm going to reroute displacement final. And I'm going to connect my displacement final here in the displacement final. Okay, so we've set up one more texture to paint on, and we're using this texture sampler to feed our displacement, to feed our roughness, our ambient occlusion. Here you can use different height textures in order if you want to blend differently than the cobblestones over here. And here for the metallic and specular, you can set up whatever you want. If you have texture for the metallic and specular, you can do the same with the height lerp and connect them too. All right. And now it should work, and let's test this out. Now everything is covered in green in our moss. So I'm going to go to the mesh paint. I'm going to go to my paint. I'm going to go to the green channel, and I'm going to fill with white. All right. So right now white is our moss. I'm going to change this to black, fill, and we have our previous painting. So if I want to start adding moss, I can choose the green channel, and I can go a little bit in the white section. And I can start adding a little moss over here beneath the cobblestones. Let's say I want here to have a little moss. A little moss over here. Over here, see how it blends pretty well with your environment. And of course, you can add here in the snow. I'm gonna expand this and see how it works with the cobblestones. And this is because the height map for blending between the moss and the snow, it is also the cobblestones. You can change to whatever you want. If you don't want to paint in the cobblestones over here in the path, change the height map depending on your snow, and you're gonna have this better result by blending it. But right now I can blend this, and if I go into my red channel and start painting a little bit over here, I can start painting a little stones here. Go into my green channel, I can start painting some moss. Jump into my red channel, let's paint some snow over here. Jump into my green channel, and it is pretty fun, guys. So if I go here in the selection, play it, you can see that we have this nice blending between textures and everything is working perfectly. But one thing that you don't see here is we don't have displacement, and the displacement is not working by default. So let me show you. When I go into my vertex painting, into my floor, and the displacement is working with nanite. So if I put nanite on, enable nanite support, and if I hit save, then you can see that everything is blowing out, and this is because of the magnitude. So I'm going to go to my material, I'm going to go to my vertex paint, and you need to control your magnitude for your displacement. So how to do that is select your base material over here and search for magnitude, and I'm going to put 0.25. I'm going to hit save, and now the displacement will work, but the vertex paint texturing won't work. All right, the displacement is working, but our vertex painting is not working at all. How to fix that? It is pretty easy if you know how to fix it. It is very painful if you don't know this trick. So let me show you the trick. Select your mesh, go to the vertex painting, go to the floor, and the first step is to disable nanite. When you disable nanite, you are able to paint again on this mesh. But once you enable it, you are not able to paint. So the workflow is as follows. First, paint your mesh over here, however you want. For example, I want this. And then go here and hit apply. This will instance the vertex color to the source mesh. So it will embed it into the source mesh. And when I hit apply, I'm gonna override it with all the LODs. And right now, the vertex color is embedded into my source mesh. And what I can do is I can just enable nanite, and the displacement will start working. So right now we have our displacement working with our vertex paint. You can see that the cobblestones are popping out. Maybe it's a little bit too much, so I'm going to tune this a little bit down. Go to material, vertex paint, search for your magnitude, and do with 0.15. Save it, and now we have this little subtle effect, and we have all the cobblestones pop out, and we have also the snow popping out a little bit more. And right now, if you don't find anything to look good and you need to paint again on your vertex mesh, what you need to do is just go to the floor, disable the nanite, hit save, and you're gonna bring back your floor without the nanite. Go to your mesh paint, go to paint, select your channel, and start painting over it. So this is how you can utilize the nanite and the displacement. Also use the vertex paint onto your mesh. So this is pretty much how you can vertex paint and use displacement onto your vertex painting. This is an awesome feature in Unreal Engine, but it has this little trickage to do in order to make it work. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I see you in my next one. And before I end up this video, I want to let you know that I've created a Blueprints Masterclass for Unreal Engine 5. It is available right now on Udemy. So if you want to expand your knowledge and not just only create art pieces in Unreal Engine 5, but create some characters, create some game logic, my course is the perfect solution from beginners to intermediate Unreal Engine 5 users. The course itself is 15 hours long, and it has all the foundation that you need to kickstart your blueprint knowledge in Unreal Engine 5. So if you want to keep evolving yourself beyond just creating art in Unreal Engine 5, enroll now. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to support me and get access to all my files, also to the auto material that I've created previously, join my Patreon page for $4.99, and with your pledge you're supporting me to keep creating amazing videos like this. Each one of you can make a big difference by supporting my channel so I can keep making those videos. Thank you guys for watching this video. Happy game development. I'm out.